Okay, I think we're live. What's going on, YouTube? It's Cyclone, and I'm back with some Hunter x Hunter. And generally, just to discuss the series and see how it's going. Before I do that, I am going to also see if I can watch this from a different computer, my other device. Give me 1 second. I'll get comments going. And we're gonna make sure that I have this open for chat. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go here, and then I'm gonna. Oh no, I don't want that. And then I want to do. Okay, I'm getting my channel. Here we are. All right, cool. I have it up. Awesome. Right, and I can hear it just from this. Okay, we do. Great. All right. So here we go, folks. I'm just gonna play this. I think it's playing on the stream. I'm gonna test it just so see if I can hear it. I'm gonna play this guy's video a little bit.
All right, so I finally read all of Hunter x Hunter, and a lot of you know why it took me so long.
I want to see if it plays on my screen. All right, so here we go, folks. I'm just gonna play this. I think it's playing on the stream. I'm gonna test it just so see if I can hear it. I'm gonna play this guy's video a little bit.
All right, so I finally read all of
Yes. It does. All right. So here's the deal. I want to just talk generally about why this series might not appeal to certain people. And by the way, again, oh yeah, I forgot I had to actually unplug my keyboard because I'm out of USB slots on my computer. This is a very low-tech setup, guys. I am not running a professional streaming. I am literally using a home PC and making it work. But I don't really need the keyboard for this instance. Here's the deal. I want to go through Jonin's video. Now, I don't really even know who this is, but I was watching a little bit of it earlier today, and I thought it was interesting to hear his takes on having really just gotten into the series. Now, from reviewing his channel, it looks like this is a very big fan of One Punch Man, One Piece, Dragon Ball, and My Hero Academia. I wouldn't say these are the most complicated or complex series ever written. They're very straightforward, action-focused, emotion-focused, power of friends and family and overcoming your own deficiencies sort of stories. They are underdog prevailing high action series that resonate with a lot of people. Now, having said that, let's just go into this video and leave some comments if you want to make any points or suggestions. I definitely want to hear what people out there are saying, what your thoughts are from watching this guy. And I'm just going to lower his volume a little bit, and we will get into this. And of course, this is all a critique and discussion. Everybody is open to their own opinion. Art and writing and storytelling could not be more subjective. Everybody's going to experience it differently. Everybody's going to have different desires when interacting with the product. But I try my best to be objective. I look at writing as a art form. I look at narrative choice character development, character impact and involvement in the story, how the story evolves, and how the action rises. If you guys understand narrative structure, literative structure, of course you develop a plot and setting and presence. And then you begin your main plot's rising action. That's really where the soup begins to boil, right? You start adding conflicts. You start adding objectives for the characters to solve, goals for them to achieve, and you rise the action. And one of the things that Hunter x Hunter does very, very well is it rises its action in extremely complicated, and sometimes it even branches the rising action into other directions. So it is very much more of a branching action than it is a linear action. And when you start to think about that, where an end goal might shift from the beginning of a story to somewhere else, you see that Togashi adds branches to his rising actions and the character's motivations and goals. And this branching style is very complicated. And I think when you look at a standard story, when a character says, like, let's take Luffy or Goku, like, I'm going to beat the big bad guy and I'm going to rescue all of these innocent people, they usually do that in the stories that they're from. Dragon Ball, One Piece. Look at Superman. Superman saves the day. That's basically, it's called the save the day story, right? You save the day. There are innocent, helpless people in danger. You save them from a big bad threat. That's exactly what happens. And yeah, you can throw in some, like, side character struggles or, additional subplots, but that linear rising action exists, and you expect to end up at that top of the mountain where the climax hits, where you beat the big bad guy. But Togashi does not always end up at the climax that you're expecting. And that is really where his work shines very brightly, because you don't always end up where you think you're going to end up. And then that, when you're reading it, makes you ask questions while you're interacting with the story. So let's watch this video, and of course I'll pause and just comment as we're going through.
All right, so I finally read all of Hunter x Hunter, and a lot of you know why it took me so long, because I said that I would only read Hunter x Hunter if Togashi returned. And wouldn't you know it, Togashi returned, so I decided to hold up my end of the bargain. And in about 4 weeks, I read the entire manga, and I watched the entire Madhouse anime as well.
That's a lot in 4 weeks to digest this type of series. With a single watch through or a single experience of it. That's a lot. And by the way, like, this was me with JoJo's. I did take breaks, but I powered through part 6 and part 7 manga. And I will admit, like, there were parts in those stories where I think if I digest them, a second time, it might be more enjoyable. But it really came after I read those parts that I found some very interesting themes and ideas. And even to this day, I have found some, like, interesting little things. But when right fresh after reading it, you've got to really digest it. And Hunter x Hunter only gets more complicated. As I was mentioning, the branches, the rising action towards climax, Togashi's branches, he gets more branched. The rising plot gets more complicated with every arc he comes out with. And this one is no exception. And I see someone is on the video. Thank you. I hope you're ready to... We're going to watch Jonin's video and comment and discuss. Someone who's not really a fan of this series and just got into it, versus someone like myself who I like to talk about it, go into it, and it's really one of my all-time favorites. So let's just go through and see what he has to say. And it's a kind of interesting take to discuss.
So overall, as a full series, start to finish, I will say that I liked it, and I think that it is good. But I don't think it's like the GOAT series. And that was one of the things that I had heard a lot coming into this, especially when I was requested it for so long. You know, claims of it being the best written battle manga ever, it being a masterpiece, and so on and so forth.
I want to stop right there. I think it's a shallow take to call this truly just a battle manga. It's not. It is actually more to me of a thriller than an action series. A lot of this series has to do with the anticipation of the coming conflict. As I said, the rising action in Togashi's work is tremendous. You creep up to this very steep high climax. It's not like a generic flatlined rising plot, rising action. It hits at a very steep peak. If you think of a graph, Togashi's graphs are very steep and they go up like this. And the line, it just keeps going and going and going. And in some series, they kind of like level off here and it's like, oh, you expect what happens and that's fine. So to me, battle series usually flatten out in a lot of ways. You know what the plot is, you know what the objective is, and then it usually happens. And so that graph isn't quite as steep. Let's keep going.
And I understand why people would think that for sure. I mean, pretty much.
And I'll change. And I know this is the wrong title. I can't edit it at the minute. But I will.
Right now,
I will
and
edit
type
the
in
title of this
masterpiece in the
stream.
search bar, and you'll find.
And technically, it is a
that
discussion.
Series masterpiece.
It is
But for
returning,
Hunter
so
Hunter,
part 2.
I can't agree with that. And I don't want to disappoint anyone here, but this series didn't really hit me that hard. So before I get too critical with it, let me just focus.
All right. When I first watched this series, I thought it was tremendous. But I really, again, I had to digest it. I had to think about the themes and the writing choice. Why Netero used a bomb. What was important? It wasn't just that he used a bomb. There's so much more to unpack there. I've discussed this. A lot of people have discussed this. If you don't catch those nuances in Togashi's writing, it's not going to be that special. You really have to know that the Buddha became the demon, and that the child became the monster, and that the monster became an innocent, loving human whose light illuminated all. And that's when if you really know that stuff going into the series, it's going to I think open your perspective. Now, I don't know how much analysis this guy has really done. He says he finished it. That could be as simple as he just read through it to get through it, saw the big ideas, and got out. Judging from the series that he enjoys, which there is absolutely nothing wrong with the series that someone enjoys. But from my seeing what he watches, the series he seems to gravitate towards are very straightforward. They are the enhancement style stories. And Hunter x Hunter is definitely a specialist. Whereas where there's like One Punch Man, Dragon Ball, One Piece, My Hero, way more straightforward. Yes, there's conflict. Yes, there's tension. But Hunter x Hunter goes way beyond with the themes and tensions that it brings up.
On the positives. So overall, I do think this is a very well written series. Actually, one of the better written series I've read. It's pretty original, and some of the stories in these arcs are really unique and interesting. Very different from what you would see from a typical battle manga, even to this day. And that was one of the main things that really kept me on board with wanting to finish this series. And also for its time, like when it was first being released in Jump for the first couple years, I have no doubt that this was considered cutting edge. I mean, if this was just released today, no one would really be none the wiser because it still holds up very well. You can easily see its influence on a lot of the series that have come after it. A lot of the current big battle manga series, heavy Hunter x Hunter influences on it. Totally. I think it has really good characters too. and pretty diverse as well. But there is a serious issue with all of them, and I'll get into that. But this series also really knows how to hit its big moments and execute them very well. Like the big iconic moments of this series
Freaking ad.
are iconic for a reason.
I'll mute this so you guys don't have to be absolutely inundated with ads. Let me do my part here.
Because they're pretty great. And at times, I'll say, I really do appreciate when Togashi decides to fully explain things, although that quickly becomes a detriment.
Before hang on, I just gotta turn on some air. It's getting really hot in this house. Give me a second. Woo. Oh, no. There we go. All right. Get some air flowing. It's too hot in here right now. Because I'm watching a video about Hunter x Hunter. You know the temperature goes up 3,000 degrees, right? So, couldn't agree more with a lot of those points, right? And writing is good. Originality, characters are intriguing. All true to me. And just objectively in writing choice, a lot of these characters are very interesting. They are very unique. Is there a character quite like Meruem out there? Is there a character quite like Killua? You might think there is, but to that degree of sophistication, how much development does Killua go through? Is there truly a character like Hisoka whose presence only makes everybody excited for different reasons? But we all want to see him for some reason because he's the perfect mystery figure, the ambiguous, gray morality character. Basically, Togashi takes thematic choices and character construction, and he delivers those characters to, in a lot of ways, their highest potentials in the genre we're dealing with. So that's why, when you really look at the series, that's why fans become fans. But let's keep going and see what he has to say. And to everyone who's on the stream, welcome. And if you have any thoughts about this discussion, please add your thoughts as we're watching through this video.
So let me just go into my criticisms at this point. So the explaining, there's just too much. There's
a lot.
Too much exposition.
There is a lot of
dialogue.
exposition.
Now,
Sure.
don't get me wrong.
There is.
I'm a fan of things being explained and necessary exposition and dialogue and everything like that. But there has to be some kind of balance. And I don't think Hunter x Hunter strikes that balance, especially in the latter portion of the series, after the Chimera Ant arc. Something happened with Togashi and he more so went in the direction of a novelization rather than just a battle manga.
Totally. Could say that this is, for sure, a dialogue-heavy series. Absolutely. There is inner monologuing for days. There is inner turmoil and conflict being described to you. You are looking into the characters' minds a lot in this series. And in a way, you see that more than just characters fighting to win or defeat somebody. A lot of it's the planning of the fight, the planning of the defeat, the planning of victory. How do you plan for it? When Togashi alludes to this, he does it really nicely in the beginning. Do we all remember Gon fishing? What do you think that was all about? When Gon was learning how to fish to steal Hisoka's badge, that was the way he writes his story. It's not taking Hisoka's badge that you're really focusing on. It's all the little details that allow you to steal his badge. It's all the ending of the main anime storyline. It's the friends you make along the way. It's not the destination. And this is all rising action. This is Togashi's style. He adds suspense. He adds multiple layers of objective, of conflict before you reach an endpoint. And he's mentioned it time and time again in the series in little hints and nods. And it's just, I freaking love it. Let's keep going here.
And it was always kind of there, but it just progressively got more and more superfluous. And I also think that's the reason
Sure.
why Hunter x Hunter is mainly known for like 2 or 3 sequences. Because before I had read it, and whenever I was suggested it, or whenever I just saw Hunter x Hunter come up in social media or on YouTube, or when it was being referenced in some way, it was usually because of Netero versus Meruem or Gon versus Pito. After going through
Sure.
the series, I totally get why that is. It's because those sequences are pretty much the peak of the series, and they're also the most accessible. And also being accessible kind of bothers me at the same time, because Togashi will go out of his way in this series. And
I'd like to make a criticism of this take. They are highly accessible because they are the climaxes. How you can't make a climax that inaccessible. A climax has to be where resolution takes place, right? So of course it's going to be something you can access because you're seeing the resolution to a problem. But does he, I don't know, again, does he really know all of the interesting meaning in these points of the story? The whole duality of Meruem Gon, of Netero, of the good flipping towards the evil. Did he really see that? Or how a girl with disabilities, a blind girl, was the strongest opponent Meruem ever faced? Where mind overcame muscle, and where knowledge, just simple knowledge of a hobby, was more enlightening and powerful than an entire kingdom to Meruem. A nation, a world that bored with the blind girl was more important to Meruem than an entire nation that he could rule. And Poof tried to get him to that, dictator role, but Komugi beat that passion. And there's all these things you can break down. So it is accessible, but within these climaxes, there is so much more going on. The characters themselves, what the fight actually means, what it symbolizes, and then ultimately the payoff is quite drastic. It's full of despair. These climaxes go towards, in some ways they open another rising action. Instead of just going towards an ending, they open another objective. So yes, they are climaxes. But then he draws another line, even higher up, the healing of Gon, for example, that becomes its own plot. So, that's how I would look more at it than just they're accessible and he wasn't as text heavy during these climaxes. Yeah, because they're climaxes.
Really go out of his way to overly complicate and overly explain so many minute details and minute characters and their
But my
abilities,
point is,
as
I
well
feel
as,
like
their
that's
monologues
intentional.
and
It
their
adds more
rationale
complexity
and this
before the
endless
climax.
litigation of hypothetical
That's-
situations. But when it comes to the
how
two
mystery and
big
thriller
moments
stories are
with
normally
Netero
written,
versus Meruem
right?
and Gon versus Pito, those
Branching-
sequences
branching-
and
branching
the exposition
actions.
attached to them kind of just plays out like a standard battle manga would, which I just think is strange.
Here comes another
because-
ad. Son of a gun.
If you-
Man. Bear with me.
Why not make an expository feast out of them like you did with everything else? And I'm not saying that I don't understand those sequences. Like I said, they're the most accessible. They're simple to understand. But with Netero, on the other hand, and his Nen ability, it's still, to this day, kind of ambiguous. Like, you go to the wiki right now, and not even the wiki itself is entirely sure what's going on with his Guanyan Bodhisattva. And I really wouldn't be that nitpicky about it if it just wasn't for the fact that everything else gets, an entire chapter dedicated to it being explained.
Is Gon's ability explained? Is Killwa's ability really explained? Is it really that complicated? Is Neferpito's ability really that complicated? Meruem doesn't even have a real, he just eats things and gains power, just raw strength and I could go on and on about simple abilities. They exist. Uvogin, is he really complicated? The Shadow Beasts, are they really complicated? The Phantom Troop, they're not even that complicated either. I mean, Chrollo is the exception there. Hisoka's ability isn't that complicated. Unfortunately, this to me is really nitpicking the issue that he's bringing up. It's picking and choosing what's convenient, but it's not true. There are lots of abilities that are very simple. That's not the point of why certain abilities get brought, dialogue for days. It's because Togashi's trying to add rising conflict and tension to the moment. Chrollo's fight could have just been them fighting fist to fist and, using big explosions and Kamehamehas. It's not, though. It's a whole strategy, because this is how Chrollo fights in the verse. This is how Chrollo operates. And Togashi, staying true to that, creates abilities and fights around the strengths of the character. He also shows the weakness in Hisoka's desires overcoming his sensibilities. Hisoka's willingness to just fight Chrollo on any term. That's why Hisoka lost. Because his desire, his need to fight overcame his logic and his reasoning. Well, continue.
But with that comes the bloating of these arcs. These arcs aren't, too long. I mean, the Chimera Ant arc is 133 chapters, but that's, by far the longest one. But a lot of these could probably be cut in half, or at least a quarter of them cut off, if it was just like a normal series and it had like a normal amount of exposition and dialogue, and it didn't needlessly go into explaining things that...
I'm going to be honest. Parts of this I do agree with. In early Chimera Ant, there were some things that the whole what's his name? Well, let's start with Greed Island. Greed Island there is some definite bloat in Greed Island. There are some things about some of the card collecting that they have to do, and some aspects of the training which just feel like they're buying time. And I mean, that's kind of it's a training arc, so this whole thing with Ikalgo and Welfin, when I originally watched Ikalgo the first time, I couldn't stand Ikalgo. I couldn't stand it. Get me back to the action. But when I go back and see it, a part of me actually appreciates its inclusion. Welfin is a lot better the second time you read or watch through it. It'd be the fact that it's really him that's alluding to having human memories so powerful that they overcome your ant nature. His devotion to Gyro, all of this, that then opens. Now you want to know, when Welfin ends up actually going to see Gyro after the battle's over. He's the one who says Komugi. He's the one now who has all these human memories, and he has his own objectives to do. A side character could potentially have a big journey ahead of them. A side character. You actually care about what happens to a side character because of that. If Welfin wasn't in this arc, we would never have gotten that possible payoff. So I think when you go back and see it, there's actually a lot of good use of this type of situation, this subplot, if you will, this kind of side conflict.
No, I at least think the average reader doesn't really care about. And I'm not just talking about characters' abilities, but like I said, the endless monologues of litigation and critical thinking of situations and what's going to happen, as well as details that have nothing to really do with
because it's a thriller mystery story. It's not an action series.
Togashi will just start explaining
I think that's a lot. People really don't
or
see
trying
that.
to explain to you this card game that he created for Greed Island.
Yeah, Greed Island.
Speaking of the
Greed Island is not one of my favorite arcs. Overall, there are some great highlights, but I know what it's there for. It's to train and make them strong, go on and kill them stronger. I love the Razor fight. I love seeing Biscuit's adult form, kind of to put it to perspective what has been there the whole time. But some of the collecting the card stuff, I didn't really care. I'll be honest. I knew that it was just waste. It was just adding time and something to care about. And then the card game itself, I mean, yeah, at the end you can keep one of the cards as an object, so that's kind of neat, but it doesn't. The ant art just blows it out of the water. Like when you really look at it, like when you see Kite, like that moment when the tone just totally shifts, like you realized, yeah, this was just buying us some time and growing Killa's abilities. So I definitely can feel that from a point of view.
Endless monologues of litigation and running over scenarios and whatnot. That goes back to what I was talking about with the diversity of the characters. And yes, for the most part, they are, pretty unique and they have their own individual personalities. But at the core of every single character in the series, they are all Togashi. Because once you essentially get past the surface of them...
Isn't that true for like every character? Dude, don't tell me that you think Luffy has all this wonderful like development. Please, don't tell me that. Again, from my review, this guy likes One Piece and My Hero and Dragon Ball and very straightforward battle series. So I don't want to assume anything, but
they all literally think the same exact way, and it's how Togashi thinks. And I get that a lot of these characters are hunters, they're the cream of the crop. So naturally they would be, astute individuals.
Chasing that A and want to save time? Grammarly makes editing one click
I'm
simple.
also going to disagree here. Goodbye, Grammarly. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to disagree with that. I'll tell you two characters where that's different. Hisoka and Crollo. How about this? How about Pito and Poof? How about Netero and Gon? I mean, yes, there's inner monologuing and planning, but the thing is, these are highly intelligent fights. That's the whole idea of the show. The Nen system requires intelligence, or else you will be eaten alive. We saw hunters that are stupid or not that intellectual get throttled in the series. Look at our boy Paco. Look at Saleh in the recent arc. Guy's an absolute dumbass, and he gets, throttled, right? The intellectuals are prevailing. That is absolutely true. Idiots don't survive in this world. Idiots do not survive. It is cutthroat survival of the fittest, hunter, apex predator preying on the weak. So yes, hunters that get through that point and go through an examination process where you have to prove yourself mentally and physically, which very few people can do, become hunters. So they're all, to at least this extent, Nen users have to be. They're licensed. They're academics. It's part of the verse. So I take that. It's like, that's part of the story. And you don't like it, that's fine. But objectively, there's nothing wrong with it because they're all licensed individuals. They all have to go through this process to become hunters. So yes, they're all very smart. It's just my opinion.
Simply Nen users in general, because having a critical level of thinking is integral to a Nen battle. But it's not even them, it's just every single character. Random civilians, children, teenagers, everyone eventually gets to the point of where they just start thinking like Togashi. And I really think it kind of bogs down the series, to be honest. So let me just quickly go over how I feel about all of the arcs real quick. So the Hunter exam arc is really strong, and I think that this is the most fun that you're ever going to have with.
It's also, in a lot of ways, the most simplistic and childish. Nothing wrong with, if you like the Hunter exam arc, there is nothing wrong with that. There is no. I know some people who put it in the top 3. Not me, but I know people who do. There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing. But I think we're looking at two different types of fun here. Very little about the Hunter exam is fun. in my viewing of it, because it's formulaic. And climax is Tompa. I mean, we got Tompa, right? And okay. I don't know. I have a lot more fun with the Succession War. A lot more fun. My mind is racing every time I read that damn shit. I'm racing because it's asking me all these questions.
With this series, not the most entertained, but the most fun, because Togashi doesn't really become unhinged until like this arc is over, to be honest. The Zoldyck family arc, it's 5 chapters. It was fine. Heaven's Arena arc, this is when Togashi goes full Togashi for here on out. It's only 20 chapters, but it like feels double bad. It's not bad, but it's just the beginning of that like creeping bloat that all of these arcs are going to have. The York New City arc, the core of this arc is great. And I really like the Phantom Troop and their dynamic in the series. I even like that they're currently a part of it. But there's so many unnecessary aspects of this arc that really bog it down. When it reaches its high points, they're awesome. And I think the conclusion of it is fantastic. But overall, it's just unnecessarily bloated.
I guess. Hey, what's up, Legendary? Welcome. Yeah, so I don't know if you've been watching for a while, but yeah, we're just going through Jonin's video here. He's not the biggest fan of Hunter x Hunter. He gave it a shot recently. I didn't know about this guy. I just I thought this would be an interesting video to kind of discuss and open the dialogue too. Yeah, I hope you're having fun. If you have any questions or comments, I will be reading them. So, yeah, let me know.
So then we have Greed Island, and I was really looking forward to this arc because, it's set up early on, and you're like waiting for him to get there, and he has to go through everything in the previous arc to finally get a chance to do it. And then once he gets to Greed Island, it's, I don't know, kind of anticlimactic in my opinion, because it's slow. And the whole card game aspect of it isn't that interesting. And the fact that Togashi...
I have to agree with points of that. I am not a huge Greed Island fan. Again, I like points of it. The climaxes are pretty good, but the card game feels like a distraction. Like when they have to, find this and find that and help the villagers who are sick. Like that stuff just is fluff to me. I don't give two shits about any of that stuff. But again, I would agree generally that Greed Island does feel like filler or feel like a piece to just add some chapters or episodes to the story.
He expects you to be interested in it because he himself is interested in it, I think plays it to a detriment. Now, just like in York New, there's great moments in it, and the ending is pretty satisfying as well, but it's kind of a slog to get through this one.
But
it's not bad.
Oh my God.
So then
in a 12-minute video, we've had 40 ads. Bro.
And this is obviously the best arc of the series, also the peak of the series. It reaches a high that I don't think it ever will reach again. And like I said before, it's 133 chapters, and it definitely doesn't need to be that long. I love the whole aspect of how the Chimera ants work and what eventually becomes of them and how it ultimately wraps up. I mean, the ending of this arc is magnificent. One of the best endings to an arc I've ever read, but getting there can be a slog at times. There's 2/5 of this arc that could easily be cut out and it would be fine. So like I said, that was the peak of the series, and after this, at least in my opinion, I think it starts to decline. So the 13th Hunter Chairman election arc, this on paper seems very exciting, especially because we're fully introduced to Jing here, Gon meets him and all that, and that's all fine, but everything going on with this election and Killua and his sister, brother, I don't even know what's going on with that, but it's just not.
And now I think I see some shades of this guy not having a lot of patience, because we do know who Alluka is. Alluka is a boy that identifies as a girl and has a curse within them, or her. I should say her, 'cause identifies as a girl. But that clearly, like, he didn't even give two shits about that and threw it in the trash because I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say any, conjecture here. But the point is, there is something to that character. Like, if you just sat and really looked at it and the hints going on, there is something important there. And it shows that Killua is so much more selfless and looks out for the ones he loves and cares about than a lot of his family. So, I don't know, man. I think there's a little more there than you gave it credit for.
Not as compelling as I thought it was going to be. I mean, that aspect isn't like the entire weak point of this arc, but the election itself, I think, is. I mean, I appreciate the ending of it, but man, just everything else just didn't really hit me. So then the Dark Continent Expedition arc, this was only 9 chapters, but I think it still suffers from the same thing that the post-Chimera Ant arc Hunter x Hunter does, and it's that there's an awesome concept there, and there are aspects of it that are so exciting. Like the concept of the Dark Continent itself is so exciting and so cool, and the information that we get on it is awesome. But the way that they go about it, and the way that Togashi sets it up and how everybody has to talk about it just somehow becomes boring. And then we come to the current arc of the series, the Succession Contest arc. And I'm gonna be blunt with you guys. This is 42 chapters of pain. I can't say
It is for those who can't keep up with it. Yes, it is. If you're not willing to read, it is painful. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, for those of you who don't like to read, it's painful.
say that this is bad because it's not. It's, good writing, and the core of it is great. The idea here with the princes and the succession game itself, and them getting the guardian Nen beasts and how they work and how they develop
Cyridex faces, man. I'm telling you, this guy.
abilities. That's all super interesting stuff. But outside of that, there is too much going on here. Too many characters.
And here's my advice to people reading this arc. Don't give a shit about half of it. By this point, you should be able to see who matters and who doesn't. We know who matters. The mobs, the princes, the main hunters, some of the guardians, like Benjamin's guard, and some of Camilla's guard, like Camilla's guard, the Zodiac, and of course the troop. And that's it. There it is. You know the big players. All the Hunter Association members, the Cockine military, some of these side characters, people in the justice system, just don't fucking give a shit about them because they're there to add ambiance and add some realism to the situation. Like, do I really care about Onyor as a character? Not really, but I do care about what happens to Onyor because it connects to Zhang Li, which connects to the whole entire Succession War. Do I really care about Lucerys? No, not really. But do I care about what happens to Lucerys if it impacts his ties to the Char family? Yes. Because the involvement of the Char family in this conflict could completely shift the dynamic of what's going on. So all of the interconnected, webbed characters and plots and struggles of this arc means that even a character you don't really care about, if they die or something happens to them, it could send reverberations across the whole web and all the characters. Look at what Karapika did by just talking over an intercom, by doing the Nen lessons. This is boring shit. Just doing Nen lessons, this is so boring. And yet, it completely shifted the dynamic of the Succession War just by speaking into an intercom. That's it. That's like that. To me, that's why this arc is one of the best. Because every action could impact the entire thing. Rarely is an action isolated. When an action happens, it impacts the whole freaking story. When these random bodyguards were getting drained out of their blood, the silent majority plotline began. And now we have it. To be fair, I would like to see silent majority in these next 10 chapters and get to this shit. And that could lead into even one of Morena's people, or it could lead to one of the queens. the justice system. I had a theory that it could be one of the people in the justice system. But again, it's because again, people have to remember is that it could be an emission conjuration. Like, yeah, that seems polar opposite. But if it's like some sort of special stability where somebody could launch it halfway across the ship, like maybe that is what it is. Even though people think it's someone in the room there, which would make sense. There's still the possibility that they're in cahoots with somebody else. And so all this complicated interaction, the connectedness of this whole arc is what makes it one of, if not my favorites of the story outside of Chimera Ant, obviously. Chimera Ant is... But right now I'm having the time of my life just keeping up with all this shit. Once you really break it down and digest it, it becomes so clear as to what's going on. It's not, yeah, on the surface, it is complicated. But when you really start to see how each prince and camp is operating, it becomes a lot easier.
And it seemingly can just go on forever, right? I mean,
No!
It's 42 chapters here, but this...
It is going on, but we've had 3 princes die already, so we are getting some resolutions here. It's just, yeah, it's gonna be meaty.
It feels like 142 chapters by the time you're done with it, and I'm sure that it was easier to go through this arc on a weekly basis. But reading these chapters back to back is...
You mean yearly, bi-yearly, tri-yearly? This guy doesn't know, man. He doesn't know the truth. He doesn't know the pain.
Truly a difficult task because they're nearly just novelizations. It's hardly even battle manga anymore. And if this has to do with Togashi's illness and his inability to draw, you know, I get it. But maybe just, you know, hand it off to an artist like many of the other battle mangas do. But I think Togashi has...
Hang on, oh, hey, yo, Family Guy. What's up, brother? Exactly, my man. Exactly. That is exactly the point. If you go through this once and put it down, you're going to hate it. Yeah, but that's not what it's designed for. It is designed for scrupulous reread and theorizing. Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't have it on paper. I don't know who all the queens are. Dwazil and guess what? I don't give a shit, right? Because I know if they get involved, they're going to be shown and something's going to happen. I don't care about the queens. I know that Nasubi's a horny bastard, all right? That's like literally, I don't care. But it shouldn't take a rocket scientist to see where the big points are and what you should be following here. Like, all those guards in the background, I know they're fluff. Bellarente and the whole thing with Sissoko, that's fan conjecture. That's fan theory. It's fun, but it could just be nothing, and I'm okay with that because it's not there that he's this big deal, right? Look at, what was that guy's name? The guy who loves biscuit, Woodlenti, Weregay maybe? He loves biscuit, and I was laughing. That was so much fun. But he too is just a side character. But you have these little moments, and they're great. And it's like there's nothing wrong with having all of this stuff because this is a crammed, full boat with all these people and all of these parties that have interests and have desires on board. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of characters that don't really matter. Oh, really? Is he? Is this really a fan? Oh. Okay. Huh. Got it. Also, yeah.
pride for that. Or, just go full-blown novelization, because it almost is. Now, if you enjoyed this arc and you think it's a masterpiece and you think I'm like an idiot, hey, that's fine. Understandable. But this arc just wasn't for me. And if it was for you and you really enjoyed it, then I'm glad, because at least somebody is. And I see that Togashi has all of these ideas and these awesome, unique, complex stories in his mind that he wants to get out, but I just don't think he's going about it in the best way. But that's just me. I'm just some idiot on the internet. My opinion doesn't really matter, guys. I mean, if you love the Succession arc and just all of Hunter x Hunter, and you don't agree with any of the criticisms I have, that's fine. But just for me, the series just didn't hit me as hard as I thought it would. But like I said in the beginning, overall, I think it's a good series, and I did enjoy it, aside from the final arc here, and I will continue to make content on it as the new chapters release.
But you also have to remember, my guy, that this is an in-progress arc, so it's also, you gotta wait until either Togashi says, I'm done and I quit, or we get an ending, to really say, like, if you are enjoying this current arc. Yeah, the feeling is there, so yeah, if you don't like hearing what characters are thinking for 12 pages, you're going to hate this arc, and you don't enjoy it, and that's cool. Like, I agree with you about Greed Island. I think that there's fluff, and kind of it just feels like it's there to be there. The card game doesn't really matter in the grand scheme. Yeah, like, the card took him to Kite. Like, that was, quite frankly, what the payoff was, is that one of the Greed Island abilities took them to Kite. There it is! We traveled all the way to one of the real goals of the story instead of what Greed Island ultimately was. But again, I think, quite frankly, that
I'm also not gonna like pander to you guys or have this false hype about it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, in saying that, like, if I feel something is boring or bogged down or superfluous, then I'm gonna say it. But yeah, those are my thoughts. If you're angry with me,
no one should ever be angry about an opinion. For God's sakes, it's a freaking story, man. If people are angry at you, like, they're children. I don't know how old this guy is, but hang on. Very good. Unfortunately, people really like junk food series when they can just turn off their brains. Yeah, I heard about Chainsaw Man being fun and gory and over the top, right? But I never saw it. Look, here's the deal. Again, there's nothing I am not trying to be derogatory. I'm just noting something here. And by the way, I don't know if there could be spoilers. I'm not trying to look at the titles here, but Jujutsu Kaisen, One Punch Man, whatever, One Piece, and these are not the most mentally complicated and engaging series in the world. And so to me, it seems like there's a theme here. This guy does good guy beats bad guy, good guy becomes stronger, good guy shows big power and defeats enemy. Storyline. Good guy saves his friend, good guy overcomes an obstacle story. This is not, Hunter x Hunter is not that story. And it never will be. It puts heroes into positions of darkness. It puts villains into positions of being kind and generous. That is ultimately what Hunter x Hunter does. It throws angles and curves to the trajectory you're expecting. And a lot of that inner dialogue, a lot of that inner discussion, that is to show you how complicated it is to find your moral balance, right? Like, in real life, do you just go, like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do this really big thing and it's going to be great. Rarely do you get there without a bunch of problems getting in the way. Let's say you want to paint a house. You paint your house and it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to the store, get paint, and then paint my house today. And in some stories, the character would get in their car, they'd go get the paint, they'd come home and they'd paint the house, and then, a girl would walk by and fall in love with them, and then that's the story. In Togashi's world, you go out to get the paint and it starts raining. Then you get to the store and the paint, there's only half the paint left, and there's a customer who's just about to go buy it, and you have to rush through and beat that customer to get the paint. Then you got to get it back in your car. Oh, there's 12 hours of traffic on the way home. Can you find the alternate route to get home? Oh, your friend's calling. they need you to help them fix a broken doorknob. Did I explain Hunter x Hunter well enough? There's your two versions of storytelling. One guy gets to paint his house, the other guy goes through all this shit because life throws stuff at you, right? So, I mean, that to me is like the example. Oh yeah, I've heard. Eventually, I might get there. It's funny, like I don't really watch anime. I'm gonna be quite honest here. This was the last series that really got me interested in anime. I'm going to be completely honest. I've heard great things about Jujutsu. I think I will give it a try at some point. Yeah, I'm not like the biggest anime guy, which might sound shocking to a lot of you, but I like series that stand out, that are not average or normal. They do different things. I had my phase in high school. I was a huge Naruto fan. Huge. Dragon Ball. I grew up. I was 6 years old when I saw, Kid Goku and the Kamehameha and all that stuff. The Kamehameha. And I saw one of the vivid memories. I think I was like 8 or 9 or 10, and all of a sudden I'm on the TV. And you remember the scene with the androids for the first time, and he stabs Yamcha through the chest. I was a kid, like I was literally flipping through, and like that's the episode I landed on. Like I'll never forget. Like what the hell is that? I was watching like Rocket Power and shit. I was watching Nicktoons and like that stuff, and then all of a sudden I see this freak clown like stabbing a guy through the chest. So, like, I usually get into series that, like, grab my attention, like, really, and a lot of anime are generic crap. I'm gonna piss some people off by saying that. A lot of anime is recycled, refurbished ideas. It's no different than any other medium, like sitcoms, or, like, at this point, people are getting sick of superhero movies. I still think there's some enjoyment and some good qualities in some of these series and movies, but a lot of anime is just borrowed concepts. And like, how many series take place in a school? How many series take place with a magical girl or something? How many series have, underworld demons and spells? Go ahead, like, get started. I'll be here all day with your list, right? So, let me give you, here's another one. I really like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I really liked it. The only thing I don't love about Full Alchemist, I really don't like the power system at all. Because it's not explained. Nen is explained ad nauseum to a point of insanity, and the alchemy system is so vague and like, they put their hand on the ground and draw something with magic. And then they take one element and make another. Like, there's no explaining as to how they actually do it. They read books, but they don't explain, like, what they're learning, really. And then it's like, oh, it's all about God and about, like, your soul. Like, what? And I love, generally speaking, the Full Metal theme and world and flow. And for the most part, the writing is good. The characters are interesting. I liked, how some of the villains could be in precarious situations, how they got out of some of those, like Envy and what was the other one? It's been a while, but Wrath is a very great character. Like, Wrath is one of my favorite characters in Full Metal. I love that false identity dynamic thing where they're trying to play a role they're not, and the spy almost, and then you have it's been a long time, but yeah. Oh yeah, Family Guy. Yeah, so for me it's true, but Armstrong. Armstrong, my gosh, who doesn't like Armstrong? Armstrong's amazing. So now when you look back and you look at Hunter x Hunter, it breaks the molds that surround this genre, and a lot of it is like Togashi's trying to make characters uncomfortable, and he's trying to add complications, and he's trying to make the ground uneven. As I said again, a lot of it's branching action and branching climax. Again, let's do this. You start a story here, character starts in action, they end at a climax here. It's a line. Luffy, every single time, Luffy goes from here to here in a line. Yes, he might lose or might be put down, but his friends are going to help him and he's going to win. Always bet on Luffy winning with a big punch or something of that nature. What happened? And then when they win, the world government, usually something happens or there's another conflict, but Luffy's journey then goes on to another island, another plot line for another location. Yeah, there's the finding One Piece thing, but that's just there. It's the whole theme. But the world government stuff and the mythos, that's a lot more interesting to me. I don't care about Luffy's fights, really, like in a narrative sense. It's A to B. But what happened with Gon in the Antark started here with Kite. They were getting stronger. They were learning. And then Pito. It went like this. They went down. They were going up and then went sharply down. Now they're lower than they started. Then you have the arc with Knuckle and the training, and they have to slowly build. And guess what? They lose again. 2 losses. They just lost well, they don't know this, but we know they just lost someone very important to them. And then they just lost to these other guys and think they're out of the mission. Then, we finally get them back into the story and Beijing and all that stuff. And then Killua almost dies. Killua goes down. Meets a friend. Killua's journey goes up. They reconnect. And then the invasion happens. So before we got to the invasion, it was like this. We were going down. We weren't going up. We were actually going down. You thought, you start this new arc, and you're going to get stronger, and you're going to beat the bad guy. Yeah. But no. We went down several times with these 2 characters before we got to the invasion. And then in the invasion, Gon and Killua, they get to their climax, and the climax does this. Ready? They're going up, and then we plateau. Here's the invasion, right here. The invasion happens, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is Killua. Killua falls in this story. He falls into despair. Palm rescues him. And then we get re-energized, literally. He fight, And then he gets to Gon, and he falls. Look, Killua goes down into the center of the earth in his sadness. Boom! Gon rises, beats the main enemy, and then the falling action, it's such a steep drop. They drop into the earth in despair together. There's not a happy, oh yeah, we saved the day and everyone's safe, and whoa, and we're friends still. We know what happens. So when you know writing structure and narrative decision making, that is like why this series feels so good when you're reading it, because the low points go really low and the high points go really high, and they constantly flux between really high and really low. There's volatility all throughout the Antark. Meruem wins his fight in a way. He with Gungi, he has like a branching rising action. So here's Meruem starts here. He has 2 rising actions. This is what we call a parallel journey, almost like Sirainik, right? But this is King Meruem, and this is the Gungi playing Meruem. And here's what happens. It goes up. There are 2 desires for this character. It's a duality. He's getting stronger. They're taking over the country. But in his mind, there are 2 priorities with their own rising actions. So it's a duality situation. This character has 2 desires and needs. And where each one goes, the Poof is the conqueror and the kingdom and the fighting and the war. And then Komugi is the desire to just play a fun board game and fall in love with somebody. Having a friend in your life, really. And so these 2 go up and down while they're both there. And Togashi shows this, remember the image with Meruem's monster side and human side. His ant side and his human side. And the Gungi side is human, the kingdom side is ant. And it's literally a duality situation. That is 1 character, 1 rising action, 1 climax with 2 needs. It's one of the best character expressions. Just when you really understand it, it's so good. So if you don't get this level of detail with Hunter x Hunter, you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. That is true. It's going to you're going to have to start asking those types of questions. What's the morality of this character? What's their objective? Gon is also a branching character in this arc. What is it? Avenging Kite and being a good friend to Killua. And, saving the day. But avenging Kite is the mission. But Killua is his best friend. They can't exist together. And he knows this. Gon knows. He's smart enough to realize he's going to need to do something to achieve a level of power to succeed in the mission and defeat Pito. And he does. But this destroys his friendship with Killua. At the moment, that's it. He's sacrificing everything for it. So, and Killua has to think about himself. I'm sad about the situation and I'm going to go into hiding and run away from it. But then Palm says, you need to be there for him. I mean, you can go on and 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 on about the complexity of this series, but try to do that with One Piece. You can't. It's not complicated enough. There's not enough to ask. There's not enough questions. There's not enough conflict. But in Hunter x Hunter, you can definitely do dual arising actions, 2 branching needs, branching objectives for each character. It's so great. All right, I rambled on enough there. Let's see. I could do this for about 15, 20 more minutes. This is the wrong way. Let's go to the Reddit. What? I hate when it doesn't type. I typed. Oh, my keyboard is unplugged. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. Oh, hang on. All right, I'm going to have to... All right, take this out and I can put my keyboard back in. Okay, and I'll put this back. And I should be able to type after that. I could get a wireless keyboard. Here we go. I'll do this for about 10, 15. Any topics you guys want to talk about, feel free. We're here to chat. So let's see what we have in the the sphere today. It is hot. Jeez, is my air off again? Ugh. Ooh, it is warm today. Huh. That's some water. All right. Okay. Oh yeah, fam. I'm reading your comment there, and yes, he does have a physical ailment with illustration. So, I know we've joked a lot about that, and I look. I knew he was an older, author and artist, and so it's par for the course that he's eventually gonna age out of being able to really do this full time, of course. But that's where the whole argument is. He needs illustrators. He needs people to do this with him. So nah. If Gyro looks so generic. No, I don't want that. Oh no, guys. Wait, that's a hand. Who is this? Bro, wait a minute. Hang on. That's a hand. Dude, don't tell me. Let's see. I can't wait to see the comments on this one. Hang on. Let's take a look here. Oh, the properties of blubber and gun. Oh, come on, dude. Karapika trying to bullshit everyone with some long-winded explanation. By the way, everybody needs to get ready for a dialogue-heavy batch of chapters. And a lot of it is going to be about the princes and the main conflict. Let's call it like it is. I heard people like, oh, we're going back to Whale Island. We're gonna see Gon again. Maybe you see Killua and Aluka. And let's contain our expectations, please. I think Tyson is gonna get killed, potentially in this next batch of chapters. And I feel like we might see Camilla's guard go off and maybe actually enact some of the curses. Maybe that's how they get to Tyson. Maybe they enact one of the curses on Tyson, or they enact one of the curses on Tubeppa. And then Tubeppa has to figure out like a way to concoct some sort of exorcist like concoction or something. Or change how the curse works. But that may be silent majority. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. My guess was Karapika, They'll still complain either way, clowns. People will complain about the dialogue and the bubbles. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But when I do when I read these with all you guys and like the dialogue actually lets me read it and think about it. If it was just visuals, like I know a lot of people are now like starting to show manga on screen. Guys, you can still get flagged for stuff like that. I'm telling you. I once had a tiny little visual of Gear 4 Luffy, and I was doing a reaction to like Gear 4. It got claimed. And I got a strike on my channel for it. A little visual of the episode right down there. And it got claimed. I don't mess around with that shit. I can't do it. So I have to read out what's going on and just like go through narratively with what the story is doing. So that's how it's gonna be on my channel, because like these copyright holders in Japan, like they imprison people for stealing. And then I'm not saying I'm gonna be imprisoned, but the point is they don't mess around. If they saw your video from something or somewhere, you're done. It's Weregay getting a Woody for Biscuit. That's what it is. That's the panel. Hang on, let's see. I also don't see a Prince death in any of these two chapters. It would be too soon, so he'll slow the pacing. Tyson has Izunami, so she's heavily guarded. Yeah. Balsamico, oh yeah, Hulkenberg at the trial, yeah. Oh yeah, we're definitely getting Mafia stuff, there's no doubt about it. But if we get 2 chapters of Mafia stuff, that'll be big. Like, it seems like he's doing 1 chapter or 2 chapters of mob stuff every batch. That seems to be the trend, and even with the recent happenings, I don't think we're gonna get like a Mafia heavy batch. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Unless he wants to go to the Mafia stuff and then we time skip, and then there's Tsareidnik with all this freaking power, his master of Zetsu, and you know, Camilla's curse is out there and stuff like that. But I think this arc benefits from the moment to moment tension. So the 2-day to 4-5 day skips are okay and it gets us through the story, but I just don't know if we're leaving the first floor all that much. Like, we will, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Could be. It could be a rights issue, definitely. Illumi. Again, Illumi's my goat in this arc, and I want it to be Illumi. I've said why. We all know why. Dude's a monster on this boat. He's a god. Illumi's a god. Illumi. What if Illumi was controlling Morena from the shadows? What if Illumi was controlling one of the mob heads from the shadows and influencing the succession war? It looks like someone is in his or her bed and any other person is talking. I would assume Karapika. He's lost 30 years of his life. He is now on the bed, completely tired and near death. Hold your hold. Enough. No. Not yet. Not near his deathbed. Relax. No. Bonolinov going in hard. Maybe going into his coffin hard. He's going to get roasted in this arc. Dude, imagine Bungee Gum in all of his holes and he can't do anything. There's just a big bubble. He's dead. Yo, Bungee Gum counters a lot of the troop. He could prevent Finks from winding his arm. He could prevent Phaeton from using his sword. He could prevent Shizuku from using her vacuum. She could prevent Banana from using his air holes properly. He could prevent Machi. Well, we know what he did with Machi. Just literally put gum all around her. She was helpless. I mean, dude, Ahsoka's very dangerous right now. Like the troop to me feel like they're being stalked. Like I don't feel like they're the ones in control. I feel like they're being stalked. I really feel like Ahsoka's in charge here. He's the lingering threat. He's the lingering presence, and the troop are like turning around their backs. Like, where is this guy? Like I get this claustrophobia watching these chapters. So it's really cool. Oh, I remember. Oh yeah, dude. Like the anime has become really popular in the reaction community, so that's why there's a lot more people invested now. And that's great because the chapters just come back. Hey, maybe more people will watch my videos. I don't care. It's just more about like the more people that watch, the more conversation. Like I make $0 doing this stuff. This is all free. All free entertainment. I don't care. I'm doing this for fun. Rihan? It's Rihan? I'm messing around. We're going to move on. Yep. The Black Whale is an inside job. Well, we know he wants to like consume all of the people on the boat. It's like a vessel sucking on their net. Foreshadowing, right? Didn't they like puffing on clouds of blood or something? Like it was, foretelling that would happen. Like, dude, quite frankly, if this becomes like a survival arc where like Karapika's in one of the life rafts with Oito and Wobble, and like maybe like they have to get off like a Titanic. Like if this turns into the Titanic and they're on a life raft and they're like they go to this like island, like. You want to talk about like survival story and like Hunger Games, like Jesus, like yeah, there we are. Now we have a brand new plot. We didn't even get to the new continent. Now we're on an island, and the trooper and the princes like Saradnik could get there, and all of a sudden we have this brand new plot to deal with, and it's like survival of the fittest. Like this is the real Hunter exam. It could happen. I'm just throwing that out there. Dude, Tom Hanks, where is he? Where, Castaway? And when it goes beyond the critical point, the ship will sink. The murders and remove the source of the passengers' anxieties. There's not a moment to waste. Yeah. We have enough data, sufficient effects upon execution. If you don't report this to him, right in the meeting. Without explaining, yeah, right, I'm remembering this now, yeah. Convenient methods of escape. Right, this... by the way, I have thought about this, like the actual boat where this everyone just sinks, but this is the actual boat that we end up caring about and are on. It's a much smaller area, of course, so that would make it more intense, right? This could totally be a sabotage mission. Absolutely. 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 Flying, dude. Literally, I'm telling you, this could become Castaway. Oido Karapika on a raft getting to a fucking island. And then Saraydik is like following their ass, like on a piece of driftwood. There we go. Oh, man. Yeah, right. The Songbird is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, Hart. It definitely is. Poor Leorio. Oreo. O-R-E-O. I know. Where's my man Leorio? Come on now. Yep. We know that. They're all going to be trapped. But it's like the arc is full of two, right. Yes. The sarcophagus is literally the plan. Hello, this is not a this we know. Like, we know the ultimate, the black whale is the perfect way to condense a bunch of people and steal their Nen and resurrect some crazy being. It could be a Brionne life form. I have theorized that a Brionne could be in that middle casket, or it's the first king of Khakeen who has waited for this day, and this succession arc is going to be the one that brings him back to life with the original power that basically consumes all of the dead participants into one ultra mega powerful being. There. Meruem, see ya. You're no longer the strongest character. If there's hundreds of years of like Nen in this one person, he's God. So let's find out, right? And hey, sure. Yeah. Leorio will have his moment, definitely. Blackmailing him with participation. I don't know why you're here. Yes. The first, yeah. See, I'm telling you, it's yeah. Has there ever been a king who risked his own life to lead his people into uncharted lands? No, never. Huh. Yes. Nen inscription. Until aura is applied to them. Yes. Yes. See, you want to talk about lore hints and oh. It could be, again, these rooms can be constructed with conditions. They are highly resistant until the right nen is applied to them. Otherwise, so again, it's like these are part of the lore and the nen system. And yes, this coffin could require the right participants, the right nen, and maybe it enacts a special condition of the nen beast, a nen after death, a post-mortem situation. When you put one of the princes into the coffin, it could actually activate a special condition of the nen beasts themselves, which is a bigger power system in the grand scheme of things, to that central sarcophagus. That one, you guys should go read that one a little more closely. And again, there are some panels I haven't read in a long time. I was just trying to get back into that. I've always thought that there could be a sabotage plot. Of course, duh. Look at how just horrible Cockeen is. It's terrible. All right, guys, I have 10 minutes so I'll just go through a few more posts and we're going to have to call it a day on this stream. Definitely, if you want any questions or comments or thoughts, they definitely leave them in the chat. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, this is not going to be good. This is going to be a toxic cesspool. Are you ready for this? Yeah, Zazan's totally male. Can you say that with a straight face? Zazan is male. Of course Zazan's male. Right, why? It doesn't matter. Could be they're not human fully, so they're genderless insectoid humanoid creatures. There's your answer. Have fun. Yeah, there's preferences, and also whatever they consumed might influence their overall appearance, but they are just ant creatures with inherited traits. So if Pito had, we know that there was a cat involved, and it's alluded to be a female mother cat. There's something there about that, but then whatever else goes into what Pito is could be male, could be all the ants are a concoction of things. So this whole gender debate is just stupid. Yuppie is just as much up for debate as Pito is. This whole debate is because Pito has thick fucking thighs and people like that shit. Let's call spade a spade here. We all know the reason, okay? Thigh game is top tier. We got the top tier thigh game over here, all right? Okay, so, Zaza clearly, her mother, okay, blah, 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 blah. Oh, look, I love this. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yes, that's more likely. This is trash. Very complex. Have you seen Krolos? Oh, it's saying, okay, Family Guy. Guess we'll see if Nasubi was able to recover Kacho's body. Right, Serena could save him. Yeah. Yeah, Definitely could. I agree. Ooh. Let's get this one started. I can finish off with a good debate. How about you all? I don't know, man. It seems like a slugfest in Uvo's favor. Like he just is so much more physically impressive overall. Yeah, he is. He is. He is. And Knuckle by himself is not nearly as effective, so that's why I do give Uvo the edge here. But I mean, Knuckle's a crafty guy. But Uvo's he can blast like rock faces and cliffs and shit and tank bazookas and I don't know if Knuckle can do that. Knuckle in a group is really good. Like he's really strong when there's distractions around him and he can get a clean hit in. Like he's really powerful. But this is not what the question asked. Yeah. Not as good as I thought. Oh, sure. I feel like downvoting Hart is like a Nen condition, right? The more downvotes I get, the more powerful my Nen becomes. All right, a couple more, and then I will have to call it a day, unfortunately, guys. No! I'm tired of this question. It's the most obvious answer. No. Netero is the most overwanked character ever. I love the guy. He's like top 5 characters, but his entire aura capacity scratched Meruem. That's not one Hatsu. That's all of his aura ever collected into one beam. Scratched Meruem. It didn't physically disable Meruem at all. It scuffed him up. It's like he got some scrapes and bruises on him. That's all it did. All of his aura. The entirety. Why do people not understand that all of Netero's aura was utilized in that beam? Everything he had. So it doesn't matter how many slaps. It doesn't matter. That was all of his aura in one beam. I'm tired of this debate. I can't do this anymore, guy. It doesn't, bro. It doesn't matter. Zero Hand accelerated the damage that the Buddha would have done. Do people not understand this? Netero could have utilized all of that aura through hitting him with the Buddha, and it would have equated to no more damage, because that's exactly the amount of aura Netero had in his entire essence. People don't understand it. They don't understand this topic. It's on and on and on and on. I want to see what you guys think. Oh, Phaeton over Wanked Shore. No, this is great. This is the juicy stuff. I want to, all right, post your thoughts. Like, I just went on a tangent because I keep seeing this dumb-ass argument that some people think Netero could beat Meruem. I see this. I have seen this argument, like, all over the internet. Oh, just because he knew Gungi, Meruem beat Netero. Just because of Gungi. Oh, it was just because he was smart enough to do it. Netero can't kill a Royal Guard. I will stand by that. I will die on that hill. He can injure them and cripple them, but he can't kill them. And in that process, Netero would have to still use Zero Hand to do it. I can go on and on and on and on and on about this topic. I see this all the time. And I'm having way too much fun talking about this very opinionated topic. Because the people who defend Netero like, as the strongest character in the series, yeah, there are people who say he's the strongest character in the series. After we've seen Meruem, and after we've seen Adult Gon, people think Netero's the strongest character in the series. That doesn't mean he's not the most skilled. This is what people cannot differentiate too. He is the most skilled, speed. Like, in terms of most opponents on the planet, no one can match this guy. But I'm talking apples to apples. The strongest character? No. Adult Gon is stronger. Adult Gon's Jajanken is stronger than Zero Hand in that episode. Stronger. That charged up full power Jajanken that Gon hit Pito in the face with is stronger than Zero Hand. I will not accept a different answer. I just won't, because Adult Gon is a form that literally basically killed him. Like, it literally is, it's 5 minutes of the most powerful human that will ever exist in the series. I give up. I mean, how narratively, how could it not be that? Gon reached that level through a tremendous sacrifice and all of his natural affinity to become Adult Gon. He was the strongest hunter of all time. Stronger than Jing. Jing would not touch Adult Gon. Adult Gon, because unless Jing did the same sort of thing, no human is touching Adult Gon. Netero might be able to keep him at bay, but Gon has complicated Hatsu, combat experience, the Jajanken, which can be like spam, and that's enhancement on top of enhancement on top of enhancement. So if that Jajanken hits a Buddha hand, there's no doubt in my mind he's punching that shit out of his way. Because we saw that Meruem resisted the Buddha without a complex enhancement system. That was just his raw body. So I you know what I'm saying? It's like if Meruem had an enhancement skill, like a real enhancement skill, he'd blast through that fucking Buddha. What do we got? I just opened up a can of goddamn worms here. Let me see what it. If Meruem had not experienced Gungi, Meruem would still beat him. He's played chess, Go, and shogi while also being intelligent. Sure, I agree. This is I had to pry this wound open. I love having discussions and I love this stuff. It's all a fucking fictional story. It's way too much fun to get into this stuff. Let's see. I guess the more accurate argument is that Meruem wouldn't have been able to take Netero's arm and leg. Well, yes, Family Guy, and by the way, that's true to a point, but there's something called endurance, and at a certain point, Netero's going to lose. It's just endurance at that point. So it would be a game of endurance, but ultimately, Netero doesn't have the aura to damage Meruem at all, really, in the grand scheme of things. Man knew about Gyo. Yep. People forgetting Marilyn's speech to Poof, Gungi, Rhythm, and Bias. Right. Adult. What? Okay. So actually, okay, hard. Good point. All right. So the speed factor. All right. There's a hint. Gon is faster than Trepshikora Pito and Godspeed Killua. Meruem is faster, we assume, than those characters as well. But here's the thing. Netero had to meet Meruem blow for blow. Meruem's reaction speed was fast enough to force Netero's hand. Basically, what I'm saying is, if Netero really was faster than Meruem, Meruem would have been getting hit from all different angles and shit. But they were meeting blow for blow because they were matching the speed. The problem was that Meruem has no complicated combat hatsu. He was just jumping at the guy, like his raw body, just launching himself at these hands, but he was matching them blow for blow. Basically. And he was so fast in reacting, this is what caused the game, the chess game. If Netero was simply too fast to perceive, Meruem would be like being tossed around the room without any way to really react to it. That's my point. So it's not quite as black and white as a speed game. At least in that room as well, where Meruem could jump around off those pillars and stuff. Also, what if you get behind Netero? Only his prayer movement is that fast. And we know Netero is ridiculously fast. We know this. But what if you went behind him? This is one thing. We know that the hands are going way out here and stopping you. And basically that just goes to how intelligent Netero is to putting up a wall. But if you had like a vast open area and you were like adult Gon level speed, couldn't you just get behind him? Or blindside him? Think about it. Because again, in that tomb there were all these pillars and stuff, but it was more of a confined area. So I'm just thinking like, is there a way someone could get behind him fast enough? I don't know. It's more, and the Buddha, I'm assuming the Buddha can only attack in front of it. That's a condition probably, right? Wherever Netero is aiming is where the Buddha can attack all of its arms. I mean, that to me makes like, it can't attack, I don't think the Buddha can attack like, do a back punch or something. I don't think it can do that because all the hands are facing forward. But again, you have to get around it. And then somehow get in like without him noticing. So there's ways like it's almost impossible. But we're talking about godly characters. That's why I bring that up. I'm just so fat. I love this topic. I could talk about it for days. Yeah, yo, Culver. Yeah, thanks, bro. I can't wait. I really can't wait for this. Oh, I can't wait for the series to come back. Oh, I can't wait to read it and get into it and get, as you can tell, I get very excited about this story. I love this story. Let me just go through a quick couple. I love this topic. Too much fun for me. That's wrong. That is wrong. We know how much damage Netero can do to Meruem. They showed it. Togashi showed it. What was Zero Hand? That was everything he had. If all of those equated to Buddha slaps, that's the amount of damage that would have been dealt before Netero ran out of aura. So the answer is he cannot physically beat Meruem. That's the end of the discussion. There is no discussion. There is no debate. The time to defeat him would be increased, but it wouldn't change the outcome. goodness. Yep, right. Thank you. Someone finally figured it out. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, I finally. Thank goodness. Thank goodness someone figured it out. But the people are still trying to debate it. Ah! Here, see? Right. Oh, no, now we're getting into the debate. Oh, this is bad. I'm going to get heated. Okay, hang on. I'll be right back. All right. Everybody, our boy Ant is back in the chat. Yo, give it up for my boy. You know him. My co-pilot. Yo, brother. Yo, we had fun watching Kenobi last night, huh? Wasn't that good? No. I'm also gonna. This guy misses the whole point. Netero was looking for a fight. The zero hand is a last resort technique that kills him. Why would he want to do that? He wants a fight. He wants a fight. Why would he go to zero? Zero hand is his most damaging, most powerful ability. It drained him of his lifespan. What then he had keeping him alive was wasted on it. It has to be. Why? Killua sensed its murderous intent and had to run away. And Netero's like, not even zero hand beat him? How? Because it's his strongest, it's everything he has. It's his final flash. Yeah, Ant, brother. I told you. But 5 and 6, much better. You know, Ant, we got some people watching here. And I do have to go in a little bit, unfortunately. I'm seeing family in a little bit. But, I mean, this stream has been a wild ride. We watched somebody who didn't love Hunter x Hunter. He gave it a shot, didn't really... I mean, there were some things I agreed with and some things I really didn't agree with, but everybody can have their own opinion, right? And then this guy likes One Piece and Dragon Ball and felt the series was too full of conjecture and explanation, and that's why I love it. So just to see a different point of view was very interesting. So, and then, you know, we've also gone into the Reddit, and this is like, like this is one of my all-time favorite topics. I love seeing that everybody has to argue it. It's always an argument no matter what. I'll do a couple more here, and then of course, yeah, comments. I saw this a couple days ago. I like this. This is good. Yes. Well, a manipulator can definitely manipulate light, whether it's emitted light with maybe transmutation or it's actual light. Yeah, Meruem is literally the light that illuminates all, and his aura became light, which is very fascinating. There's another one. Oh my gosh, no! We're done. I did enough. Oh my god, 153 comments, man. 153 comments. Oh! Yeah, brother. Hope your folks are doing well too. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Wait, what? Oh, wait. Oh, please, this guy with the jokes. Oh my god. Most of the troop, except for the ones who went to the spider web, they haven't really done much in the feet department yet. Machi, not really. Franklin, not really. We've seen nothing from oh my god, I'm having a brain fart, everybody. It sucks getting old. I'm telling you, it sucks. It really sucks getting old. Give me a minute. It's terrible. Give me a minute. Nobunaga. I could not remember Nobunaga's name. For all you guys who aren't in your 30s, age hits you like a fucking freight train. I'm telling you. It just sucks. Oh man. Yeah, you guys understand, Ant and myself, we it was funny, I started, reacting, but then I realized, wait a minute. I actually got him into Hunter x Hunter. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Why aren't we reacting to the manga together? And that was it, you know? Like, whenever we can, we do it, and it's great. Because, like, I gotta tell you, I think we're one of the few groups that reacts to the manga, but especially more than one person. It's so much more fun when you get to talk about it with somebody else. I'm telling you, like, this is a series meant to be enjoyed by more than one. Like, having an audience for this series is amazing. And if you agree with that. But don't you feel like when we're reacting, like, we discuss stuff or, like, bounce off, like, ideas? Because that's what it's doing. It's making you ask a lot of questions about what's going on. So it's fun to always have you on, and like, we get to bounce off different questions and topics and things like that. Yo, no, yeah, he's gonna sheathe his blade. Yeah, Hart. He needs to do like a tornado thing. Like, I want Nobunaga to like create a freaking F5 tornado, and he slices like Kite, but like he's going through and slicing everybody. Like, that's what I need from this man. Hart, okay, wait a minute. That's awesome. We're definitely going to check your stuff out, okay? That's awesome. We will definitely check out your reactions and whatever your content is. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Last 10 chapters. How do you decide that? I have to say that I really like Hulkenberg's stuff. Don't get me wrong, and his ability's busted, but like, I felt like Camilla's ability, and of course Saraidnik, the amount that you had to think about, those like 3 chapters, I think it was 85 to 87, right? Or 88. Like, there were those, that pocket was like, brought the hype and the tension when Hulkenberg's shockwave started going through the floor. Like, that was freaking awesome. I think I'd have to say that was like my favorite section for sure. Oh, Ant, you got another person into Hunter x Hunter. Nice. The army grows every day. Hart, say, oh, that's awesome, Hart. Awesome. Yo, definitely gotta check it out. I don't always look up YouTube stuff these days. Like, I like anime stuff. I will definitely take a look at your stuff, all right? But thank you for letting me know about that. That's awesome. Hope you're having fun discussing the series. Good, it's a good time. All right, I gotta do it. Like, 5-minute warning, guys. I gotta go in a little bit, get a few things done, and then I have to leave. So I will have to start wrapping this up. Any last things I can talk about? Wow. Yes. It's true. I mean, Karapika's fucking busted. But remember, Chain Jail in combat is his strongest ability. I just want to remind people of that. He's still fucking busted though. Chain Jail is a broken ability. A fairly novice Nen user can completely subdue a character like Uvogin with one ability. Amazing. Yeah, guys. All right. You know what? I do have to wrap this up. I'm sorry. I got to call it. But guys, I hope you had fun and have been enjoying Hunter x Hunter and other series, whatever you're enjoying. Again, I'll come on occasionally here and there, but definitely as we hear about the series coming back, I think a September-ish timeline to October. I think that's when we can expect it. That's my theory. Or towards the end of the year, October, November, December, to close out the year. But I feel like that's where we're heading. So a lot of fun coming up, guys. We're looking forward to it. And thanks for stopping by, Ant brother. Good chatting. We'll definitely catch up again. And